Hello, this is another example of a quite basic functions question. Please remember that a function really is nothing else than the expression of a rule between two variables. And I said to you, you can compare it to a car where we have an input, which is the petrol or the diesel. Then in the engine, there are operations happening. In mathematics, we would say operations. And with that, you would actually be able to move the car. So the petrol we call the independent variable, and the output here in this case, which is movement, okay, we call the dependent variable. Right, if you look at this question, they say to you that f of x is 2x plus 7. And you must now find fx equals negative 2. Now, if you look at this, people, then fx remains fx, okay? And that then is equal to 2. So, which tells me that instead of fx, I will write negative 2, and my right-hand side will remain 2x plus 7. So remember that fx also really stands for y, okay? And in this case, they tell you that y is negative 2. So in the place of fx or in the place of y, you will substitute negative 2. All right, and now, as usual, people, we want to find the value for x. I have now already taught you all the way through to circle the variable that you want to calculate, which in this case now means we must move the 7 over, which becomes negative. So on the left-hand side, you will have negative 9. On the right-hand side, we've got 2x left over. Remember, the 7 was moved. Now again, we want to find x, which tells me that I must move over the 2, which is multiplied on that side. It becomes divide on this side. So negative 9 divided by 2 is negative 4.5, which is the value for x. All right, it can become a bit more complicated where they give you another function where they have g of x, which is equal to x squared plus 1. And they tell you that gx is equal to z, right? And you must find x in terms of z. Now, this in terms of, you should actually remember we used when we transposed formula or when we rearranged formula. Okay, but the important principle here is, people, that you must realize that gx is the same as z. Remember that also could be y equals z, and the y equals x squared plus 1. So in the place of gx, we substitute z. Then on the right-hand side, we still got x squared plus 1 left over. And now remember, you must find x, okay? So we must express x in terms of z. Now once again, you must move over the 1, which becomes z minus 1 equals x squared. Right? Then we are still wanting to find the x, which means now we must get rid of the square. And remember, the opposite operation of getting rid of the square is the square root. Okay? So now on that side, you will take the square root of z minus 1, which then gives you on the right-hand side the x. And because you're taking the square root, remember, it must be a plus minus. Okay, so what is really different here, people, is that you substitute the y, or for this matter, in this case, the gx, which they give you as z. Okay, so you will substitute the gx with z. So that's what we've done in step 1. Substitute your function with with the value or the variable that they have given you. And then for the rest of this people, it basically is goro is oh, okay, which by now you should know well. The golden rule, which we apply in equations, is always the opposite operation to move values or variables from one side of the equal sign to the other side of the equal sign.